Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV and a new edition of our online interview series. We want to get an update from Sierra Madre, Gold and Silver, and Alex Langer, the CEO, is here with us. Alex, hey, great to see you, my friend. How are you?
I'm really well, Jochen. Good to see you as well.
Yeah, great. And I must say, things look really good. First of all, gold and silver is rising, what we were always saying. This is great. But I think it's even greater when you develop a mine. And it looks like that you guys are doing great progress. And I want to dive directly into it because you got 5 million US dollar loan from First Majestic, also a fantastic company with Keith Neumeyer. He's your largest shareholder. And I must say, in the development to take a loan that looks to me a bit like you must be faster than you said because you
Yeah,
want to
no,
make
think,
you want to be
yeah.
sure to pay it back, right?
Well, oh yeah, no, that's obviously very important. You don't want to take a loan or anything like that unless you're pretty confident you'll be able to pay it back.
Hmm.
So a couple things with that. We had been out looking for, I guess, our capex funding, which we perceive to be what we're going to need to, eventually restart operations when we choose to do so. So first off, this amount of capital allows us to do that. So we've now pre-ordered all the equipment we're going to need, critical equipment for underground mining. Lets us fix up the mill a little bit and open up some working faces. So this gets us all the way to the point that if we want to start production, we could. And also as a reminder, we are fully permitted. So in terms of the loan, we have taken it down. We've ordered that equipment,
Hmm.
and we have to start paying it back within 6 months. So we've always guided to the market commercial production Q1 2025. There was a little press release we issued, I think it was in the end of February, early March, where we
Hmm.
said, listen, things have gone well. No surprises. We've done a bunch of infrastructure work. Everything is kind of ticking along, and there's no unexpected surprises because within the mining world there always can be. So we
Hmm.
are cognizant of that, and things have gone really well. We were about 3 months early in terms of our mineral resource estimate that came out late last year, so that was a little bit early. So things are on track, if not moving a little bit quicker than we had hoped. And with today's silver and gold prices, as you mentioned earlier, I think it makes a lot of sense to start as quickly as possible.
Hmm. Can you remind us shortly, please, what, let's say, anticipated AIC you have calculated? What will be produced per
Sure.
year in terms of silver ounces? And yeah, because I think with $32 silver, I could imagine that you guys are well below the $20 level, right, per ounce?
We should be. Again,
Yeah.
you need a proper, feasibility study to come out with that exact number. Having said that, this mine was in production for a very long time.
Hmm.
We have all the records historically of what First Majestic produced at, and Genco and Lewisman and Silvermex before that. So we have a really good understanding of what that is. And at the mine, their costs were right around 13 US dollars an
Hmm.
ounce. Now, in
Hmm.
today's value, that was 5 years ago. So obviously, some prices have gone up, some have gone down. For instance, staffing is about 8% higher than what it was.
Hmm.
Actually, fuel costs, energy costs are less than what they were back
Hmm.
then. Mexico has subsidized energy and fuel and things like that. Reagent costs have gone up a little bit, so we're hoping to be kind of within that range. Obviously, it could be a little bit more, but I'm very confident to be well below that $20 number you just mentioned. So
Hmm.
closer to what First Majestic was producing at.
Hmm. Okay, super. So that would mean that you do a fantastic margin. How many ounces do you think you
Yeah.
can hypothetically produce? Not a forward-looking statement. I'm just asking about
So
possibilities
yeah,
here.
hypothetically, historically, we could talk about historic numbers. So
Yeah.
historically, at 500 tons per day, the mine was producing between 1 to 1.5 million ounces annually. Kind of sweet spot was about 1.2 million ounces at 500 tons per day. So I
Hmm.
foresee us starting probably smaller. Realistically, we want to walk before we run. Currently, the three ball mills would allow us to produce about 350 tons per day. We would have to add a new ball mill, which isn't very expensive, maybe about $1 million US dollars. That would push us up to the 500 number that First Majestic was working at. So
Hmm.
we've also guided to the market that we do want to double that eventually to 1,000 tons per day over the following
Hmm.
years. So you kind of work backwards at 500 tons per day. First Majestic, say 1.2, you double that, you're getting to some pretty interesting numbers.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with those margins, because by that time silver should be easily at $38, maybe higher. So yeah, that would mean a lot of money, I would say.
Yeah, no, that would be quite exciting. The best thing I like to point to is when we were doing the due diligence, silver kind of came off a little bit. It was still trading. It dropped down to about 18 US dollars an ounce, and we were still
Mm,
really happy then. So you can imagine
mhm,
how excited we are at
mhm.
today's prices.
Absolutely. I saw a lot of nice photos in your presentation already, so it looks like that really a lot is already there. So, what major items are still missing, and how do you make sure that you get them in time?
Yeah, so really not much. It's amazing. We have a pretty detailed fleet. I'm going to say about 85% of all the equipment we need. Again, that was at site, and we repaired it. We purchased, things. You need an ambulance, so we bought one of those last week. Little things like that. It wasn't an incredible amount of capital. We're also able to lease some equipment too, which brings down the capex cost. So we've been able to play with our numbers a little bit in terms of the mill itself. I think we did raise 10 million when we acquired this mine, and about
Mhm,
8 million of that money went directly into fixing up the facilities. So we've been
mhm,
ongoing. The last little bit was 400,000 for the mill, a little bit
mhm,
more in underground development because that's one thing you really want to be cognizant of. Once you start operations, you never want to slow. You always want to grow. So about a third of that capital will be used for underground development. That's for making sure the ore is ready to be brought to surface, ready for processing, everything like that. So I get updates weekly. The power is there. We're ready to
mhm,
go. The air filtration system is good to go. Wi-Fi underground. It's all kind of coming together. Staffing. I know we had some big staffing meetings recently, and it's kind of neat to see all the former employees come back, and some of them bring in their children, which is neat. So it made some of the other guys feel a bit older, but that's all coming together. We have our
uh-huh.
safety meetings and planning come together. I know next week is all about orientation for the new hires, but if you went there today, Jochen, there'd be 130. Next week should be about close to 180 people at site.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a lot. Wow,
it is a lot.
fantastic.
It is a lot. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, super. That sounds like yeah, like things are really coming together now. That is the important stuff. Super.
yeah.
What is the situation now with Mexico? I mean, we know both with the open pit mining, there could be some trouble. I doubt it, to be honest, because this is so many jobs which are dependent on that, and also from the export for Mexico with all those metals. But how is your situation, let's say, with communities, neighbors, etc.? Is everything in good standing?
Yeah, so all our permits are good to go. We're ready to go. We did need one permit. That was a blasting permit. You need
Hmm.
that kind of on an annual basis. So obviously we received that a couple months ago. So we're ready to start blasting if and when needed. Yeah, Mexico's been tricky. If you wanted to
Hmm.
permit an open pit right now, it would be difficult, I would say, the least. We're fortunate we're underground and we are also grandfathered in. So we are
Hmm.
fully permitted. It was one of the things we were looking at for expansion for Sierra Madre was a fully permitted operation that was underground, and we have it, which
Hmm.
is really good. Yeah, it's there's it'll be interesting to see what happens, at least politically, over the next little while. The elections are coming up late spring, so actually getting really soon. Current party is expected to win, but there has been a bit of upswell in the I guess bit more pro business side of things. So we'll see what happens.
Hmm.
But you're right. Mining, oil and gas is such a huge part of the Mexican economy that it
Hmm.
employs, I think it's about 30%. So it is a
Hmm.
massive amount. So I understand
Yeah.
what they're trying to do. Community relations, environmental is really important all around the world in terms. But sometimes these governments go a little too far and say things that, really don't make sense. And it scares the market
Hmm.
and it's uncertainty, which isn't good. But for us, we are
Hmm.
fortunate and we'll see what happens moving forward. But Mexico is the largest producer of silver in the world, and if you want to
Hmm.
find silver, that's a good place to be. And if you want to produce, it's exactly where you want to be. Now, bring it down to
Absolutely.
La Guitarra itself and the community. Oh man, they are excited. It is truly amazing. Mining is really positive in terms of the amount that you get paid. It's almost triple that to construction, and a lot of these people were working construction the last few years. It's a good community. It's about 20,000 people. We're a number of kilometers away, so they can go home at night rather than driving, multiple hours and everything like that. So
Hmm.
they've been our biggest champions. I'll be honest to say that there's going to be a huge honeymoon period, which is wonderful. So they've been really happy. That's for sure.
Super. Okay. So when I look at your resource update from 2023, which looks really great, I must say, it's silver equivalent ounces. Let's stick only with the M&I category.
Yep.
That's 27.2 million silver equivalent ounces. 18 million ounces silver and 118,000 ounces of gold. So I would say that this will last at least for the next, let's say, plus 8 years with a nice annual production. So when will you restart exploration then next year?
As soon as we can. So as much
Hmm.
as we love the quick production scenario, as much as cash flows are amazing, especially at these
Hmm.
prices, we truly feel this is the largest undeveloped silver district in all of Mexico. It is one of the largest land positions. It costs us close to $1 million US a year just to hold the land. It is
Hmm.
absolutely massive. There's actually
Hmm.
7 former large scale producing mines within our project boundary, and we'd love to
Hmm.
start using that capital to go explore. So obviously, with a
Hmm.
debt, that's number one, service a debt, and at today's prices, there's going to be a little bit extra there, and I would love to go explore.
Hmm.
Historically, there's a bunch of former NI 43101 projections, and they're big. So that's what we want to
Hmm.
do is use cash flows from the mine to go explore the rest of the area. And if we can do
Hmm.
that, hopefully maybe as soon as early next year, that would be quite exciting.
Okay, super. Maybe one word to the TPIC project. I
Yeah.
could imagine that's a little bit quieter, maybe.
It is, yeah. So Topeka, we really
Yeah.
like. Our 95% of the focus has really been on La
Mm.
Guitarra, just because, again, 7 former mines in one area. Like you might find this in a major. Usually in a junior, you'd be lucky to have one of these types of, potential mines. So the fact that there's 7 other ones that we can go explore and look into, like these mines, they shut down in the 1910s and 1930s. It wasn't because of a lack of materials, because they got too deep and the water,
Mhm.
it got flooded, and there's been no exploration work done in these areas since then. It's also actually permitted to start mining as well. So we have a couple of advantages there. So it makes a lot of sense for us to focus on La Guitarra. Having said that, now that we're getting pretty close with La Guitarra, we do want to come out with the NI 43101 resource report at Tepic. That'll come out this year, which is another highlight. And then if it makes sense, we'll start to put economics around that project as well.
Okay, super,
Yeah.
perfect. So I would say you are, uh, let's say, in front of the plan. You are better than the plan. You have the money. You have enough reserves in that sense. You have everything ordered. You have all the permits, environmental stuff. The community loves you. What else can go wrong?
It's mining, so don't say that. But we'll do our best. We're cognizant.
Yeah.
We did have a really, really, really healthy size contingency within that capital that we brought in.
Mhm.
But at today's prices, even if we do mess up, we should be
Yeah.
more than an okay. And the team is spectacular. We'll
Mhm.
announce a hire here shortly, who's going to be running the operations, and he's an amazing
Mhm.
operator. So we're very fortunate to have him. That should be coming out soon. We'll sign hopefully an offtake agreement, and yeah, it's all kind of coming together. So,
Super.
as I mentioned earlier, the one thing I can't control is the price of silver.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you
I've
must
always,
not control. It's rising anyway. Don't
yeah, there you
worry.
go. So we're thrilled and delighted, and again, mineral resource estimate was bigger
Super.
than expected, so
Yeah,
that's why we're looking double
exactly.
capacity. And now at today's prices, it makes sense to push
Yeah,
as quickly as possible.
and I could imagine if I look at your presentation with the map and everything, there is a lot of room still for future exploration, right?
Yeah, yeah, we're well over 50 kilometers of vein
Mm.
material at surface, including stockwork and breccia that needs to be explored. So
Hmm.
we've already hired a bunch of mappers. So if you went out today, there's probably about 20 people exploring the rest of the project right now and doing
Super.
detailed work. Sampling's coming in, so we have our own lab as well. So which is quite nice. We'll be able to take
That's
quick
good.
samples and understand exactly what we're
Hmm.
looking at on almost a daily
Yeah.
basis. So again,
Yeah.
First Majestic have been incredible in terms of support. They've helped us out
Hmm.
with the lab, getting equipment and things like that. We've just hired somebody who's worked at pretty much all the major labs across the U.S. and Mexico, which is great. So huge facility, and that'll be up and running here in the next couple
Hmm.
days, and we'll be able to start processing our own samples for exploration purposes.
Okay, super.
right?
I'm a shareholder too, and I saw you have two analysts covering already the
Yeah.
stock. What are the price
Yeah,
targets of them?
yeah. So the one of them actually really jumped their target, which is great. So VSA out of Europe, out of London, it's now a dollar, which is good, and that's the first stage, and that's without production coming into the scenario. And then out of Toronto, Beacon, they're at 75 cents.
That's okay.
Yeah,
No
that's great.
problem at all.
Yeah.
Super. Perfect. I would say, Alex, we talk soon when you have made more progress and it comes closer to the production start. And I would say everything goes in the right way.
Thank you so much, Jochen. Yeah, I would agree.
Super.
So yeah, we'll be in touch soon.
Love it. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Alex. Thank you. Bye
Cheers.
bye. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Alex Langer, the CEO of Sierra Madre Gold and Silver, and the restart of the La Guitarra mine. Yeah, it is earlier than the anticipated first quarter of next year. It looks like that it will be already Q4 this year, and I think Alex and the team has done a fantastic job. I'm a shareholder in the company, of course, and take the price target of VSA also with $1. That's the minimum to me. My personal target is 150 at least. And with those gold and silver prices, that company, it's a small mine, but it will make a lot of money. And honestly, with some expansion and a little bit more drilling, that could be a really, really mid-sized, beautiful gold and silver mine, or let's say silver and gold mine. And so from that perspective, I think they're doing everything right. The stock is heavily undervalued. Have a look at it. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Switzerland.